Welcome to another episode of Lockdown 23 and 1. Someone said I looked unhealthy, man, and it must have been the shadows or something, so I went ahead and changed the lighting. I don't want to be looking like old death out here, no pun intended. But today we got some pretty crazy prison stories. Not my personal stories, just some news that's happening across the country. So let's just jump right into it. If you enjoy this type of content, all things lockup and crime related, then this is where you want to be. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and check out my playlist with many more videos for you to start watching today. First, let's start off on a positive note. This is something truly remarkable I could never imagine happening in prison. The article begins saying about 2 years ago, the Stillwater State Prison floated the idea of opening a regulated tattoo parlor in hopes of reducing demand for do-it-yourself prison tattoos.
A job opportunity coming to the Stillwater prison. The Department of Corrections is hiring a tattoo project supervisor who will oversee a new in-house tattoo operation. This project has two goals: reduce recidivism and make prisons safer.
Okay, we're getting somewhere. The unauthorized practice is a common cause of disease transmission within prisons due to unsanitary conditions and populations' higher rates of bloodborne diseases.
The new program will create a licensed establishment where prisoners can go to get those tattoos safely.
That's why when you get a prison tattoo, man, you watch the guy make everything from scratch. It don't take too long to do. They don't mind building that crap right in front of you, trust me. But still, it is unsanitary, and you're taking a huge risk getting a prison tattoo. But there are cleaner tattoo artists than others in prison, trust me. There's some prison tattooers too that'll tattoo someone that they don't like and then do some really dirty stuff to their needles. It goes on to say that when you have an unregulated industry, meaning inmates running their own field, sort of the self-styled tattoo parlors, you're not going to have this kind of disease management controls. Stillwater's soon-to-open program called Stillwater's Run Deep Inc. is also an effort to be more prudent with taxpayer-funded healthcare dollars. Preventing just one bloodborne illness could save the prison a lot of money in medical costs. It currently spends around $25,000 on care for each incarcerated person who has hepatitis C, says Stillwater Warden William Boland. So this is kind of like kill two birds with one stone, man. Get some clean tattoos and save the state some money with all these hepatitis pills. I don't know, that's just what I'm thinking, but this is pretty crazy. I don't think it's a bad idea. I just wonder how much they're going to be charging for a tattoo. Keep in mind, that's the main reason why people get tats in prison, because it's dirt cheap. Ain't nothing else to do. These guys, these prison inmates doing stuff in a real parlor in prison, they're going to be charging some money, man. Especially if it's regulated by the state, man, they're going to be charging you crazy inflation, just like those 6-inch flat screen TVs they get for $50. Sell them for $300. Or the ramen noodle for 2 cents, sell it for $3. I'm just guessing the numbers. I don't know the exact increments. But they making money, man. Best believe that. Hey, if you want these things in prison, you got to pay, man. That's the name of the game. Goes on to say it's a benefit to the facility, at least on our end, and hopefully reducing the amount of infection that takes place, he said. And it gives our population opportunity to get a skilled trade, and then, upon release, job opportunities. And that's true. A lot of guys are very talented with their artwork, and they become prison tattoo artists. That's a fact. Some of the hardest things for these guys to do is find a shop that will apprentice them. If you come out of prison with the right certificates to do a tattoo, man, it's going to make it 200, 300, 400 times easier to get a job in a parlor. I promise, man. But you got to keep in mind, a lot of these parlor people out here in the streets, they don't like prison tattoos or artists. It's like they discriminate against us. I've seen it, man. Some of these guys that work in these shops are high and mighty, and they'll be joking and belittling prison art. But it is what it is. Everyone has their own views on tattoos. And when I seen the discrimination, when I came out, because I tried this route, become a tattoo artist like my wife's father, who passed away, rest in peace. But anyways, when I first got out, he was a tattoo artist, and I was about to start getting apprenticed by him. I ended up not doing it and just hustling on the streets, but still, that was the route that I was going to take as soon as I was released from prison. Almost made it happen. It's not fundamentally different than what we do with our barber programs, right? That's a toss-up, my friend. I mean, tattoos are forever, right? If he messes up that tattoo, then you're gonna have issues. I'm sure they checked all those angles out first, but I don't think this is the same to throw in the old prison barber. Not to mention cuts are way cheaper and affordable. Take less time. We train people to become barbers, barbering services and facilities. The same would be in effect here with the tattooing. If you got the money, you can pay for the right classes to get some certificates. Stillwater's program is expected to be open this fall, but it's not the first prison tattoo parlor training program in the United States. The Missouri Department of Corrections says they were first. Oh, the Missouri Department of Corrections says this is the first of its kind with this program. Right now, we have over 100 different individuals who are waiting to try to get into programs, said Alex Earls, the reentry coordinator for the department. The first class of 4 Missouri trainees has been learning about safety and blood-borne diseases since July. They will begin doing tattoo art on people soon. Man, I wonder how they managed to pick these 4. They must be the best of the best. They didn't even have to screen them. They probably got caught tattooing like 30 times already, but the guards knew that their work was genius. We're like, man, we're tired of writing these guys up. They have excellent, superb work. We want to get something done too. Let's go ahead and throw them in the program. We're close. It's looking like probably in the mid-October to November range when we will begin actually offering tattoos to individuals. Missouri's program excludes prisoners with behavioral problems. It also requires participants to pay for their tattoos. All proposals will be vetted to make sure tattoos do not represent violence or gang activity. Man, oh man, imagine getting some gang tats from some of these guys. There's been some criticism aimed at the state of Missouri for paying for the tattooing program, but he said many people have to come to realize that the amenity and training makes sense. Public perception is always challenging when you're dealing with anything related to the incarcerated population. But for the most part, the overreaching public perception is positive. And I think it's positive too. I think it is. I think the inmates are probably thrilled by this. Probably just like everybody else, waiting to see what's gonna happen. It's a toss-up, man. The last thing you want to hear about this story is, they got mad at each other in the seat and tattoo artists drilled him in the jugular. I can see it now. The whirlwind of press. Nationwide world news. Man, oh man. But that's how it is in prison. All the amenities, it seems like someone, even though they don't take them all, it seems like a lot of them were taken because someone fucked them up. They end up hurting someone with it or hurting themselves with it or a guard, something like that. So as soon as something like that happens with this, I mean, it's the only program known in its country. So if something does happen like that, it's going to be shut down quick. I hope it doesn't, though. Just imagine going to prison knowing there's a professional parlor there. Unreal, man. But anyways, let's jump over to a different kind of story. This one's actually kind of sad and shocking at the same time. Coming from Georgia, a man who spent more than 16 years imprisoned in Florida on a wrongful conviction was fatally shot Monday by a sheriff's deputy in Georgia during a traffic stop, authorities said. Man, 16 years in prison. You get exonerated or released because they realize you didn't do it. Then in a traffic stop later on, after your freedom, you get killed by the law enforcement. That's unreal. Got to read more about this. Let's see what happened. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, which is reviewing the shooting, identifies the man as Leonard Allen Cure, 53. Cure had been represented in his exoneration case by the Innocence Project of Florida. Man, they make moves for people, I'm trying to tell you. I've been hearing a lot about that group. The group's executive director, Seth Miller, said he was devastated by the news of the death, which he heard from Cure's family. I can only imagine what it's like to know your son is innocent and watch him be sentenced to life in prison. To be exonerated and then be told that once he's been freed, he's been shot dead. A Camden County deputy pulled over Cure as he drove along Interstate 95 near the Georgia-Florida line. He got out of the car at the deputy's request and cooperated at first but became violent after he was told he was being arrested. The agency said preliminary information shows that the deputy shot Cure with a stun gun when he failed to obey commands, and Cure began assaulting the deputy. The GBI, which is the Georgia Bureau of Investigations, and abbreviated for y'all, said the deputy again tried using the stun gun and a baton to subdue him, then drew his gun and shot Cure when he continued to resist. The agency didn't say what prompted the deputy to pull over Cure's vehicle. Of course they didn't. It is customary for Georgia law enforcement agencies to ask the GBI to investigate shootings involving officers. The agency said it will submit its findings to the district attorney for the Coastal Brunswick Judicial Circuit, which includes Camden County. Not much on this story at all, I'm sure we'll hear more about it in the future, but this is just sad, man. Now, last but not least, we're traveling down to Kansas. Seems like they fired 2 employees and disciplined 6 for mocking an injured inmate and refusing to help her. Poor Elizabeth Wince. Man, oh man, how could they just mock and joke her? But it says the Kansas prison system has fired 2 employees and disciplined 6 others for mistreating an injured inmate last month. But it says, according to inmates at the Topeka Correctional Facility, Elizabeth Wince spent 2 hours crawling back to her cell after hurting herself. 2 hours, man. Why didn't nobody pick her up? All them inmates, man, y'all walking around. I know ain't no max joint with her in here, man. Come on, y'all could have at least gave her a helping hand, It ain't like she just got stabbed up by a gang and you shouldn't be helping them type of situation. But Wince fell and tried to seek medical treatment, but was denied. Days passed without help when she fell again, and then again, and again went to the prison medical clinic. She was denied help a second time, but this time she was unable to walk and had to crawl back to her cell. Prison staff allegedly called Wince fat and lazy. One officer allegedly patted her own knee and said, come on, you can do it," while watching Wince crawl. Poor Elizabeth. This is sick. Yeah, man, patting her knee like a little puppy. Sweet little Lucy girl. It makes me want to go pet her right now. She's my bulldog for any y'all that don't know. She's getting old. She's been the superstar of this channel since the beginning. Officers and corrections staff believed Wince was faking the injury. Sad story about Elizabeth, but it reminds me of a personal story in prison watching a diabetic crawl into the cafeteria. So we sit down and eat our trays, and for breakfast that morning was waffles. I think it was some kind of fake artificial Lego waffles. They give us a little cup of syrup, maybe some peanut butter for it, and we sit down and start eating our trays, and all of a sudden, and this is winter time, okay, freezing, all of a sudden he comes crawling in the exit door. Okay, someone opened the door to leave, and he's crawling in because that's closer to the cafeteria than the entrance door. Crawling flat on his stomach. He ain't even using his legs. And all of a sudden he screams, "Sugar!" And everyone's like, "Oh my god, he's going in diabetic shock, man. He's going diabetic shock." Then you had this guy from that was working the syrup section in the line. Huge dude, man. And he had his kitchen gear was so tight it looked like freaking his skin. He was so big. So he came out running with and he could have just gotten like a regular cup of syrup, but I think he was gonna enjoy this more than anything. He grabbed the whole metal container of syrup, okay, and he dumps all the syrup onto the diabetic's face, and the diabetic guy's like this, "Ah!" And then within an instant, he's back up again. But man, it was some shocking stuff to see someone crawling in like that in the cafeteria. I vaguely remember the situation. It seems like it would be something extreme and you would remember every detail of it, but man, it is fading away, the memories. Which is a good thing, but at the same time, when you're a prison channel host, you would like to keep a photographic memory of these stories. Oh man, I seen a diabetic guy pass out on the bleachers. Yeah, that was crazy. Gave him a little Snickers bar. He was alright. Oh, not to laugh at the situations, man. It's just me, the way that I say things makes myself laugh. But that's some of the most recent prison news, and I think that tattoo parlor one is pretty crazy. If you enjoyed today's episode, like I said in the beginnings, hit that like, subscribe, notification bell before you leave, and stay tuned. I got plenty content coming your way. But as always, until the next time, y'all be easy, be safe, and stay free.